USC pulled off a huge win against Iowa at the Coliseum. It was a rainy afternoon in LA, but the Trojans turned it into a statement game, coming back for a 26-21 victory that boosts them to 8-2 overall and 6-1 in the Big Ten. Iowa drops to 6-4 and 4-3, and while they brought their tough physical play, USC showed some real resilience, especially in the second half, to keep their playoff hopes alive heading into next week's showdown with Oregon. But before we get into any of that, please do like and subscribe to the Big Ten Huddle. Help us create more great USC football news, all content, USC football, all that good stuff by letting us know you're watching, like, subscribe, as we do love to make videos about every Big Ten team, but we for sure do try to make individual videos and cater more a little bit to some of the teams that show us the most love. So please do that, and let's get back to the game, where this wasn't a pretty start for the Trojans. Iowa came out swinging, building a 21-10 lead at halftime. At one point, it was 14-0. USC comes back a little bit, 21-10 lead by halftime, with some clever plays from their quarterback, Mark Gronowski. He rushed for a touchdown and even caught one on a trick play as well, which had the Hawkeyes looking dominant early. USC's defense struggled a bit in the wet conditions, settling for their offense. Their offense struggled a bit in the wet conditions, settling. Sorry, I can't speak. Settling for a field goal on one red zone trip and dealing with the penalty that pushed them back. But here's where the positives shine. The Trojans didn't panic. They adjusted, and that second half was all USC. Give a lot of credit defensively to D'Anton Lynn's unit. It flipped the script entirely. They shut down Iowa for the final two quarters, holding them to just 108 yards and forcing 1-6 on third and fourth downs combined. That is absolutely massive against an Iowa team that is so good at situational football. Honestly, it was kind of like, you're going to make fun of me here, that's fine, but watching the Pete Carroll days, it was kind of reminiscent of the Pete Carroll teams that would come out of the locker room and just erase the opponent. USC racked up 3 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, and an interception by true freshman Jakeem Stewart that set up the game-winning drive. Guys like Zion Branch, Kamari Ramsey, and the linebackers stepped up big time, limiting Iowa's run game after the break and making sure Gronowski couldn't extend plays like he did earlier. Overall, the defense allowed only 320 total yards, and they turned Iowa's 1 interception into 7 points off turnovers. That's the kind of opportunistic play that's been building for USC lately. They've outscored their opponents 48-6 in the second half. 48-6. I mean, at this point, it's crazy what this team is able to do, but they just keep doing it week after week after week. On offense, Jada Maiava was steady as ever, completing 23 of his 32 passes for 254 yards and a touchdown with no picks. He got sacked twice, but bounced back, especially in the red zone, where USC converted 3 of 5 trips for touchdowns, hitting that 60% mark that was key to the win. The running game wasn't explosive, but 106 yards on 31 carries, but it was effective when it mattered most. King Miller only had 83 yards, but still a good day, as he did lead the team with 19 carries for 83 yards on the ground, grinding out those tough yards in the rain. And Brian Jackson, he punched in 2 short touchdowns as well, including the go-ahead score from 1 yard out early in the fourth. It really is telling about this USC team and how they're able to utilize the run game now with guys like Eli Sanders and Wayman Jordan. Now you thought, okay, maybe it's these guys. It's not just those guys. It's this offensive line. It's the scheme setup, and it's what Lincoln Riley is getting back to with the running game that is making them so effective. But man, let's also talk about Makai Lemon. He was the star of the show. Makai Lemon was fantastic in this game. The junior wideout hauled in 10 catches for 153 yards and a touchdown, accounting for pretty much all of USC's big plays through the air. He had receptions of 35, 28, 26, and 24 yards, beating double coverage and making athletic grabs that had the 60,000 plus fans that were there on their feet despite the weather. That 12-yard TD catch from Maiava, from Maiava to him in the third quarter, cut the lead to 21-19, and he even recovered a fumble earlier to keep the drive alive. Lemon's performance wasn't just stats. It wasn't just, this, that, and the other. It was a reminder that why he's in the conversation for the Blitnikoff Award, and honestly, he probably should win the Blitnikoff Award this year, and maybe even bigger honors. Could we see him get some Heisman love? He should, but we'll have to see. With Jacoby Lane adding 7 catches for 65 yards in the passing game, he clicked at 7.9 yards per attempt, out passing Iowa's defense that's been stingy all year, allowing only 4 passing TDs coming into this game. The offensive line deserves a shout out too, despite injuries against a very good Iowa defensive line. We do not talk enough about how good this Iowa defensive line is. They protected Maiava well enough, allowing the Trojans to average 5.7 yards per play overall and score on 5 straight drives after a slow start. Kicker Ryan Sayer was perfect, nailing field goals from 40 and 28 yards. Such a weapon to have a guy like that, plus his extra points as well, which kept USC in it during the comeback. Looking at the keys to victory, USC nailed a couple of big ones. They limited Gronowski's rushing impact in the second half after he scored early, which was crucial since he's the only FBS player with a touchdown in every game this season. In the red zone, they punched it in efficiently without settling too often. And while there was an illegal man downfield penalty, they avoided the bonehead mistakes that could have cost them in this one, and they recovered from making that mistake. No turnovers on special teams, solid field position play, and they milked the clock when needed most, holding possession for nearly 30 minutes. This win was huge. It's the biggest second half comeback at home in the Lincoln Riley era with 16 unanswered points at halftime. USC took Iowa's best punch, a team that's punished top squads like Indiana and Oregon, brought them to the wire. And while this game was deep and to the wire, they responded with poise. It says a lot about Lincoln Riley. It says a lot about his coaching. It says a lot about how he has developed as a coach. They lost the rushing battle, but won where it counted most. 360 yards of total offense versus 320, 20 first downs to 17 first downs, and most importantly, on the scoreboard, 26-21. Now, all eyes turn to Oregon next week in Eugene. The Ducks are number 8 in the game right now with massive playoff implications on the line. A win could vault USC into the mix for one of those 12 spots. The Trojans have won 3 straight, showing they can adjust, defend, and make big plays. They bring that second half intensity from the jump with Lemon stretching the field and the defense swarming. They've got a real shot in this one against Oregon. Oregon's offense is unforgiving, but USC's proven they can weather the storm. Literally and figuratively, it's going to be a battle. But after this comeback, you have to like the momentum for this team. You have to like what Lincoln Riley is doing with this team, and I have to think that there's more that you like as well. So let me know more of what you like about this team in USC right now, what Lincoln Riley is doing with them. Comment below, give us your thoughts, and please do like and subscribe for more great USC football content. Stay tuned and fight on.